Peace and blessings. Welcome to my happy place, Diva G's Reborns. I am Regina, and I am here with our baby Onyx. Okay, as we can see, our dimply baby Onyx has the lovely mid-face highlight and the beautiful deeper colored ears, especially at the tips of the top of the ears. Okay, some deepening around the nose here, the fulcrum area. Okay, and in the dimples. Okay, so we do want to go over with a little bit of the um, medium brown on the face again. Um, the arms, they're looking very good. We're going to go over the arms and the palms with just one layer of the medium brown, just all over. With the medium brown, we want to continue to make sure that everything is going to blend in. Same thing with the legs. We're going to go over with the medium brown, and then that should be deep enough color where we can then go ahead with a little bit of blushing and a little bit of blue. You can see there is some veins here. I received a question a little bit earlier asking if veins are visible in melanated people. And the answer is it depends on the depth of the complexion. Okay, it depends on the depth of the complexion. Veins are not visible on everyone. They're not. Um, they are visible to a certain degree on someone who has a slightly lighter complexion. Now, on myself, you can see some of my veins, okay? You can see some. Let's see. Okay, let's see if I can get my arm in there. Okay, so here's some veins right there. Okay, that's a vein. Now you can see on my thumb where I normally like to put the veins on the kit. You usually have a nice vein in here. Okay, now you will have some veins in here also, but they're not going to always be visible. On me, you can't see the veins. Now you can feel certain veins. However, with these are tendons. These are not veins. These are tendons and bone. So you're not seeing all vein, but the lighter the complexion, the more veins would be visible, but the darker, generally not so much. Like you can see here, the veins you can see. Now we did vein this baby, right? Okay, but you see the difference in the complexion, and even though we did put the veins kind of faded into the skin tone. Now, some of the veins that I put on the hand, somewhat in here, are slightly visible. But now, if you were in person looking at the baby, you would see it. The same way I have a vein here on the baby. If you were in person, you would be able to see it a little bit better. Although, maybe if I had a different device that I was filming on, you maybe would be able to see it also. But I am, filming, as you know, from my laptop. So Now, on the legs, the same thing. Now, I like to put veins on somewhere like on the sole of the foot because that there you usually can see the vein. You usually can see the vein. When you are having blood drawn, okay, it's not so much that you see the vein, we feel for the vein. Okay, that's what we do. We feel for the vein. And that's how we're able to draw blood, to insert IVs, to do those types of things. But you don't necessarily see veins unless a person is very, very light complected. So that is the answer that I hope that answer was helpful because, like I said, I did receive a question about that. When we're reborning dolls with a deeper complexion, you basically go through the same steps that you would a Caucasian baby. You know, you still do the veining, you still do mottling, you still do those things. However, they may kind of fade away in the skin tone, but those things should still be, well, I can't say they should still be done, but those are things that I still do because what if the baby, for whatever reason, doesn't seem to want to be darker? If the veins are there and the baby is lighter, then the veins would be visible. Um, so that's the thing. And even when you are creating a darker skinned baby, um, some of the differences may be in the shade of the palm, which is what we're going over, and you see the the change right in here of the color, you see? And then the other thing that you may notice, and we're going to go over that, is also blushing. Blushing on melanated people is different than on Caucasian. It's different. It doesn't quite look the same because the melanin is over that blush in, you know, in real people. So it looks a little bit different the darker the skin is. Now, on someone who may be a little bit lighter, you may see a little bit more blushing, but you don't see necessarily a whole lot. Not with everyone. Like my complexion, people would consider me kind of like fair skinned, okay? Or sometimes they might say light skinned. However, my skin, I'm not like blushed on my face. I'm not, you know, that, and that's just how I'm created. I'm just not, you know, my face is not like blushed. Even when I wear makeup, I generally don't really put blush on. Um, but, you know, I do have a normal bit of rosiness because obviously I'm alive. I have blood flow. So there is some redness. Like even in my palms, you can see there is some redness that's there. You can see that. So, again, so there are different things that you do, you know, you think about in reality, what is, you know, in real life, what do you normally see? Now, these are baby dolls. So, in order to get possibly a certain amount of realism, sometimes there are things that we do that to try to enhance realism that may not be on an actual baby. Okay, but there are some things that we do because we're artists. We enjoy doing it. Like sometimes we go ahead and we create vampire babies, or as they call them, fantasy babies. So this is art. So whatever you want to do, you can do that. because it's your art. You are the one creating it. For as many artists as there are as that many variations in the creations that we make. So yeah, so that's my take on it. So again, like I said, I hope that answered the question because I did receive that question and I appreciate that question. I'm grateful for views, questions, comments. Sometimes the questions they come by way of emails. Sometimes they come, different ways. I receive questions or on a messages, things like that. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. And again, I do hope that you know that is helpful. Um, okay, so now this is the medium brown. And the reason that I'm going with the medium brown a little bit more is we want to have more of a slightly subtle, I would like to have more of a slightly subtle blend in the color. Now you're going to notice that I'm going to leave around a little bit more brightness around the very center of the face, like the T-zone area. Okay, I'm going to leave a little bit more brightness there. However, I do want to add some of this medium brown. So we're going to do this very strategically. At least I'm going to try. Okay, I'm a little hesitant, a little bit nervous, a little bit hesitant because when you're doing the face, especially this kind of detailing on the face. So what I am going to do is I'm going to go over the eyes a little bit here. And you notice that I didn't go over the complete eye. I just kind of went over part of the eye. Okay. And the middle of the nose there. Okay. And I kind of went behind the hairline a little bit so that we would have a, continuing with the smooth transition. And my sponge is moist. It's a little bit damp with the distilled water. Do I see a piece of hair? Should have on my air purifier and I don't have it on because that does help eliminate, certain things like that. Okay. Now, remember I said I would like to keep the dimples kind of light. But I don't know. That may or may not happen because we want, to have the blend of the face. We want to have, the proper, well, I'm saying the proper, it's just, kind of like what my vision. And part of the vision is ahead of time, possibly, or while you're creating. So I did have an idea that I wanted to make the baby um like a medium, kind of like a medium brownish complexion. And I think that we have achieved a very nice complexion. It looked, in person, I want to say he, but I'm not going to say he. In person, the kit looks far better than what is appearing online. Again, because I don't have the best, lighting setup, and now, you know, it's raining. It's been raining all day, so I don't have like, natural sunlight either. And now it's in the evening, so whatever sun would have been out, it's definitely not there. So, um, okay, so let's put our baby. He looks so cute. I said he again. I don't know. Oh, I would like to go over, I do want to go over his nose. Here I go again with he. I do want to go over the nose just a little bit. With in the corner here, the creased area. I'm going with the lighter color again. And I want to go in the nose, in the nose. Okay. I think looking good, looking good, looking good. I do like the highlight in the face. I do like that a lot with my dolls. That's just my preference. Um, Now, what we're going to do is I don't want to go over the entire kit with the medium brown. What I am going to do is I'm just going to tap a little bit on the palm because I want to see what color that's going to give me. Okay, that's okay. That's fine. It's not too dark. Okay. Now, what I would like to do to maintain continuity with the color, I'm going to go over the entire kit with the medium brown. I'm not going over the nails because we will be cleaning the nails um, to make them nice and clear so that we can then do the nail tips. So I'm going to pounce out everywhere. I think this, adds to the blending, the cohesiveness of the kit. You see. Okay, let's look at the other arm, the other hand. Okay, you see that slight bit of difference in the color. This one we just painted again, and this one we didn't. But do you see how, I don't know if you can see, this one looks more real than this one. Looks a little bit more natural than this one. So that's why I was saying that I thought doing another layer on top with the medium brown would be helpful. Oops, let me pounce. Didn't pounce everywhere there. Got a little bit. Gotta be careful. Yeah. So, yeah. So that's the thing. So it's important. I feel it's important to try to maintain cohesiveness and um, because the subtle things that we have done with the eyelid purple in person, you can see that slight bit of shadow, that slight bit of darkness. You can see that, and it looks quite nice. It looks quite nice. On camera, it's kind of hard to see because it's a subtle coloring. It's a subtle because that's generally how it is. It's not in real life. It usually isn't going to be um a major like big change in the color because that normally in general probably wouldn't look as realistic. So, but again, it's your art and you do what it is that you like doing. I'm painting the way what I like to do, what I think is, flattering for what I want to do. I'm going across again the entire kit minus the nails with the medium brown. Now I'm going across the entire kit, so I'm not so much concerning myself with feathering because we just want this color to be all over and to blend seamlessly. That's what we want. Getting in between the toes. We don't want any pulling. Okay, so I'm going across the leg. And in between the layers, so that I'm able to film, what I'm doing is I'm going with my heat gun for about 60 seconds over the kit. What I will do, I'll just show you a little bit of that, um, just so maybe you might be interested to see how I move the heat gun or not. But I will show it because there may be people that are viewing for the first time thinking about reborning or they are reborning and they maybe would like to know um, how to use the heat gun for the dolls. Okay, so you see that beautiful, beautiful color. You see the foot. Okay, toes. You see that? Okay, very realistic, I believe. Make sure that I don't have anywhere that's discolored or pooling. Make sure there isn't any. Now, what you see me doing is I have distilled water and I wet the toothpick, and I'm just lying it across, not scraping, but just lying it across what appears to be hair. And then that loosens it up. It doesn't take away the color, it just loosens it. That piece of hair. Now if I could just get it to raise up, because like I said, I did cut Ginger's hair. Okay, so I got that off, and you see, doesn't even look like anything was done. Now, I just painted it, obviously you saw. Now I'm going to go across. Okay, so now my heat gun does not have, it's one temperature, you know, it's one temperature. You just turn it on and that's that. But as you can see, I just went across it for about a minute, and I'll let it cool off before I paint anymore. So I have these other two limbs that I will paint. The other arm and the other leg, I'm going to pause a moment and come back. One thing I wanted to show you is that with the open hand, I'm swiping so that the paint goes into the creases. However, it's not going to pool in the crease. Because if you go like this, it kind of stays in the crease. But if you go like that, the direction of the crease, then it's going to come out. So that's just something that you may already know, or it might be a tip. I'm going to pounce this out. Get off the excess off the I want to make sure that there's no pooling inside. because pooling will make your kit look dirty or muddy. So you want to try to be certain that you get rid of anything like that. Okay, I have the mop brush. This also can kind of help to clean those things out as well. Please, if there are any other, let me know what you're thinking about the series. If you have any ideas, I'm curious if you've been able to look at the community posts to see. Also, let me know if you would like to see me do reborn a vitiligo baby. I'm sorry, a baby with albinism. And I can do a baby with vitiligo also, but please do let me know what you would like to see. I'm going to pause the video and finish this other limb so that it's not too long. Okay, so I think it's time that we can begin to blush the feet and the soles and the palms. So I like to use the red wash. You know, I like to build things up slowly. So I will be using red wash. Felt like my hair was a little bit wet, and you don't want that. You don't want anything that might cause any issue. Okay. So we are going to make sure we stir up our red wash. And we're just going to go over the palms and the sides of the fingers. And then we will re-crease wherever it might be needed. I'm going to use a relatively small brush so that I can get into the little areas easily. Okay. So I'm also doing like the side of the hand, you know, that's leading from the palm. Okay. And we will probably do 3 coats of this red wash. Maybe three coats. We have to kind of see. But one isn't enough because it's very sheer because it is a wash. So one is not going to be enough. 2 probably won't be enough, but 3 just might be. We will see. Because the red will, you know, give that illusion of blood flow to the hand. Okay, so let's look at slight. You can't see that much of a difference, but this is the one that we did. This is the one without the color. You see there is a little bit of a difference. So let's do the other hand. Now, because one hand is open and the other is not, some of the blushing will be different with the hand because the color would just simply be different because of the way the hand is folded or bent. You know, the way the fingers are bent. So we are trying to get all on the sides. Okay. Okay. A foot. We're going to leave out this part of the foot where we're going to put a little bit of blue. We're going on the sides of the toes, the top of the toes. And again, we're always mindful of getting in between the toes and avoiding pulling. You look at the shape of the foot so you can kind of have an idea of where the colors. I'm going to go to the larger brush so I can cover a little bit more territory. And I'm going up the side. And that little bit of blue area on the foot, it's a small blue area we're going to have. And you can see some veins in this part of the foot and on this part as well. And here. May not show up too much on camera, but in person you can see the illusion of veins. Ah, what am I doing? I'm supposed to use that for foot. Okay. Stir it up. And you can see, like I said, with this being a red wash, it allows us to build up slowly because the one thing about it, it's far easier to add than to try to have to take away color. You can definitely add more red as needed, but if we put it and we don't want it, what are we gonna do? You have to try to make the best of it, because nobody's gonna strip the kit for that, right? Okay. And remember, we're avoiding that instep part where the where we're going to put a little bit of the blue to give the illusion of somewhat thin skin. It's not a large area, and it should kind of not be like clearly defined, but it should, you know, it can be there. Now, not everyone does this with the feet, but you know, it's a nice little touch if you like it. Now, because that's a small area that we're doing, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to do some air heat gun drying and come back. Okay, we're back again. And I'm going to see how much more of the red blush we need to have to give us the look that we want. We just want to give the look of some blood flow. Nothing too major, but we do want to see it. Like I said, anytime if you see something, as soon as you see it, do your very best to get rid of it. Because sometimes if you wait, you might not be able to get rid of it without it causing some type of flaw or discoloration. Okay. Usually what I do is the tips of the toes, part of the toes, I will make a little bit redder. Sometimes I use a different red. One of the reds that I sometimes use on the lips. It has rained all day. It has rained all day. But I'm not complaining, I'm just making an observation. It's a nice color, but still not yet deep enough. You see, not yet, but we're gonna continue with the red. Again, I like to go with sheer colors. I think the sheer colors help to add to the realism as building it up little by little. Now, again, I haven't been reborning an extremely long period of time. I've only been reborning, this is January 2026. I started reborning the end of August 2025. So a lot of times I take things a little slow, maybe to others, because I'm still very new and I would like to just kind of go slow with some things. And then, maybe later on I'll feel more comfortable to, okay, use a deeper red to begin with on the, but the soles of the feet, I prefer them to be somewhat red, but not, too much of a deep red. But that's just my preference, you know. And I just like to, kind of do what it is I think looks good and or natural. I mean, some things, when we're reborning, it may not be realistic on a human baby, on a real baby, but it looks so nice on the reborn. So, now what I think I will do, I think I'll do one more red wash. I'll do that off camera. I'm gonna use the heat gun and I'm gonna do another layer off camera and then come back. You can see the difference in the color where it's red here and right over here we didn't do anything. Well, we haven't added the red, so you can see a little bit of the different color. So again, I'm going to pause and I'll come back. Okay, so we did a little bit more, one more layer of the red on the hand. I have not yet put the blue on, but I will be putting the blue on. Since we have the red out, I will just put a small amount of blush on the cheeks. You can see the red on the foot. Okay. I'm just going to put a small amount, just a small amount on the cheeks. Because with his complexion or her complexion, you would not see a whole lot of blushing. You really wouldn't. But this wash should just give just a little tinge of color, just a little tinge. I'm going to strategically place it kind of like this way. Mm. I'm trying to think which brush do I want to use. Because it has to be very, very faint. Very faint. So faint till I'm wiping the brush off a little bit. It's only a small, tiny, tiny, tiny amount of blush. Tiny. I mean, I want almost nothing on the brush. Almost nothing on the brush. I can see just a slight tinge of the red blush. Just a slight, slight, slight tinge of it. Let's see, I'm pulling up more in the light. I may go ahead and do one more coat of the red. Just a pinch. Just a pinch. Now on the hand, we have the red. So, and if you make a fist with your hand, you'll generally see the red this way, this way, this way. But in the very middle, it'll be a little paler. So we're going to leave that area pale in the middle, as you can kind of see, and that's where the blue is going to go. But it's just going to look like thin skin, not truly like blue, you know, not truly like blue. Okay, I don't want too much. Okay. Kind of look at yourself to get an idea of the color, or if you have an inspirational picture, or if you can look at a family member, you know, those are things that are helpful. And we have to make sure that we remember this index finger to add the red there too, because it is visible. So we gotta make sure that we're adding the red properly. Well, I shouldn't say properly, but that we're adding the red. Because this is art, so art is subjective. It's very subjective. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. And then we're gonna put some blue. Okay. We don't want it to be too red. I'm gonna take the tip of the ball of the toe pad here, and I'm gonna make it just a little bit more red. Okay, see, this is the little. See if you can see it's a little redder. It's not showing that way, but it is. We're going to put just a little bit more on the heel. Just a little bit more. I'd like to see some more in this part of it. Oh. And then we're going to go, when we take the blue out, then we will use the blue everywhere that we need to use it. How can you see? Let's see. I think you can see the red on the toes. The side of the foot. The other foot. Okay. Now this hand is open, so we're going to go kind of like more on the sides of the hand and leave the middle somewhat open so that we can add some of that blue when we open the blue paint. Okay. In person, it looks good. Not like it needs to have a lot more color to it. That's the only thing with when you're filming. Sometimes the color doesn't show. We're only doing the toe pads. Just the toe pads. Make them a little bit deeper in color. And then we're going to do the heel a little bit around that little instep part. Okay. And we're going to do the face. I'm not sure if I use the heat gun, so I will use the heat gun. Okay. So our video is a little bit long, but that's okay. You can always pause and come back as you need to. Go with a little bit of the blush again. Not a whole lot. Just a little bit. Again, this is red wash. It's just going to give a slight bit of redness to the cheek, especially since the baby is smiling. So, you know, it's kind of nice to have that. I have the red out. I'm trying to think anywhere else. Where would it be? I was going to put a little bit on the chin, but I don't think we need it on the chin because we're going to continue we're gonna work on the lips. So we have gotten our blushing on the face. I think that is enough on the face for blush. We may come back on the next video and just put a little tiny bit of yellow on the nose. Maybe, we'll see. And the limbs are looking very good. The blush on the soles and the palms are looking very good. So I would like to say thank you so much for spending your time here in my happy place, Diva G's Reborns. And I would ask that you come back real soon and that you leave a comment, that you subscribe, and that you share. Continue to watch these videos, the series for our baby Onyx. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. Peace and blessings.